You are now tuning into the Resilient Podcast. Enjoy the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 29 of the Resilient Podcast. I am your host, Rob Aurelius, and like I mentioned, it is episode 29 of the Resilient Podcast, and it's more than just another episode. It's the start of a new era, the new era of Resilient Forever. In this episode, I am going to recap an unforgettable trip to Las Vegas, which was about a week and a half ago during WrestleMania weekend, where I celebrated the 1-year anniversary of the Resilient Podcast at one of my favorite cities, Las Vegas. And at the same time, it was a weekend full of beautiful memories. And, you know, what made me feel so special about the 1-year anniversary of the Resilient Podcast is also like the WWE Hall of Fame, the black and gold everywhere, you know, where it matches the spirit of this podcast and the colors that have always represented strength to me. And just overall, the theme of WrestleMania with the black, the gold, you know, for Vegas and whatnot. There was much more colors involved, but the black and gold really, really made me feel like, wow, like this year's WrestleMania is great. Because remember, folks, last year's WrestleMania, the theme was green and white because of the Philadelphia Eagles. So I also want to mention that today is Wednesday, and it's the last day of the month of April, and now we're shifting into April. So today we're closing out Autism Awareness Month, and we're getting ready for a powerful new chapter as Mental Health Awareness Month approaches. So closing out Autism Awareness Month and reflections from episode 28, which was filmed in Las Vegas, I want to talk about that. In episode 28, I opened up about the heartbreak that started this whole journey, why the Resilient Podcast was created. And I mentioned it wasn't easy to relive it, but it was necessary. I needed to honor how far I've come, not just with the Resilient Podcast, but in my own healing. The episode was really about acknowledging that pain, but also showing that resilience isn't about avoiding hard moments. It's about surviving them and letting them shape you into something stronger. So that's what I talked about in that episode. Also, I wanted to have a guest this month to talk about honoring Autism Awareness Month, but I didn't get a chance to because that person was very busy because they are a autism awareness advocate. And this person is no stranger. Her name is Natalia. And for those who don't know, she actually wrote a piece on the Resilience Tribune website, and it's actually available right here by visiting this link, theresilienttribune.com/publications. and you'll be able to see her story where she talks about her beautiful daughter who happens to be autistic. I wanted to have her on this actual episode, episode 29, but things just didn't work out. And it's okay because, again, it's the beginning of a new era. It's the beginning of a new chapter of the Resilient Podcast. And it's good that I'm able to focus on that and not talk about, her story. Her story, we can hear it at some other point. And trust me, folks, she will be a guest on this podcast at some point. But it's better that I get to talk about the new beginning. So, in regards to Autism Awareness Month, before we move forward, I just want to pause and recognize what that is. To me, it is about advocacy, acceptance, and inclusion. And we need to have conversations. We need to keep having conversations, not just in April, but year round. And I talk about this with every cause. Everyone deserves to be heard. Everyone deserves to be seen and valued just as they are. And I just wanted to put that out there because that's just how I feel about it. So, one more time, and once again, as we close this month of April, happy Autism Awareness Month, Autism Acceptance Month. And to everyone out there that has a loved one that has autism, you are loved, you are seen, and you are valued just as much as that person with autism. I know a lot of people with autism, and they are beautiful people. And they are normal people just like you and I. So let's keep accepting that. So, folks, we're going to talk a little bit more about WrestleMania. But before we do that, I want to do something called 1 year of growth. And it's a personal check-in. Where are we a year later? Now that the Resilient Podcast is a year old. The Resilient Podcast, the first episode was on April 19th, 2024. On April 19th, 2025, I sat in a room in Vegas with walls just like the one you see behind me for those that are watching on YouTube, because I wanted that theme. And I was like, hey, I need a wall where I could be able to hang some stuff, and I need it to be plain. And they were like, sure, we got you. And I thanked everyone that has made the Resilient Podcast possible. So now we are here a year later, and I spoke to a friend of mine when I was in Vegas who eventually will be on the podcast. And my friend had so many questions about where we were with the Resilient Podcast. And one of the first questions they asked me was, hey, have you ever asked yourself questions like, do you write questions down to like check in with yourself? And I said, well, I have a memory journal that I use. He's like, yeah, but do you ask yourself questions? Like, do you write them down? And I said, not really. So he was like, well, why haven't you started? And I said, you know what? You just gave me a good idea. So I actually wrote myself a few questions. And the first question that I wrote down, I wrote these on my notes on my phone, was how have I grown emotionally, mentally, spiritually in the last year? And I remember writing down, man, it's been night and day. Emotionally, I learned how to sit with my pain without letting it define me. Mentally, I've gotten stronger. And I've been learning how to be able to separate my emotions from my actions a little better now. Spiritually, I believe that I'm getting to the point where I am getting more grounded. And I trust that everything, even the heartbreak that caused all of this, had a purpose in my story. I'm beginning to accept that everything happens for a reason. So the second question that I asked myself was, what surprised me most about my own resilience? And I responded to that question honestly. The fact that I kept going when I had every reason to quit, because there were days I didn't want to get out of bed. And I've mentioned that before on this podcast. But somehow I still created, I still showed up, and I still fought for my future. Because honestly, I have to. My ex-girlfriend, when we broke up, she went out there and she did everything she needed to do for herself. And she continued to live her life. She continued her journey. So I said to myself, Rob, if she's doing it, why can't you? And, you know, I didn't realize I was that strong until I had no other choice. So the next question that I asked myself was, what was the darkest moment and how did I overcome it? And when I asked myself that question, I was literally able to respond to it with the quickness. And I remember saying, the darkest moment was realizing she was really gone. After April, the second week of April, no more texts, no calls, no closure. It felt like someone ripped my heart and my soul out of my chest. But that same week, I overcame it just a bit by creating the Resilient Podcast and shooting the pilot episode with Josh. Turning my heartbreak into healing, not just for me, but for others. That's when I realized the only way out was through, pretty much. And then there was this question that I didn't know if it made sense, but I still asked it to myself. And I said, what does being resilient forever mean to me now versus when I first started? And I responded, when I first started, resilience meant surviving heartbreak. That's what it meant to me. Now it means embracing life with all its ups and downs, and knowing that no matter what happens, I have the strength to rise again. It's a lifestyle now. It's forever. And then I remember questions that people were asking me like throughout the journey. And this was a question that came up a lot. So I asked it to myself. And the question was, one thing I wish I could tell my day one self. And I would tell myself, if I could talk to day one Rob, right? Day one was March 22nd, the day after the breakup, March 22nd, 2024. I would tell myself, it's going to hurt longer than you expected. But one day, you're going to smile again. And you're going to be proud you never gave up. And when I asked myself that question, I literally remember looking around. I was looking out my window from the hotel. I was looking at the Fontainebleau Hotel, which was right across the street from this hotel that I was staying in Vegas, Las Vegas. And I was smiling. I was smiling because I said to myself, man, I wasn't supposed to be on this trip, but here I am. This is a trip that I knew for months that I was not going to be able to make. And then I remember in February saying, like, hey, there's a possibility I can go. And then I remember scrappling things up in March, trying to make it work. And even in the beginning of April, like, yeah, I'm convinced I'm not. I remember the week before WrestleMania, if I'm not mistaken, maybe a week and a half, but like a week before WrestleMania, I remember thinking to myself, like, I'm not going on this trip. And then when Diego was not able to make it to this trip because Diego's job did not approve his PTO to go to WrestleMania, I had to step in. And WrestleMania trip this year was one of the best trips I've taken so far in my entire life. And it was much needed. And it was my second time in Las Vegas, but I truly, truly appreciate it. I really did. So switching gears, I want to talk about looking ahead. I want to talk about getting ready for Mental Health Awareness Month and year 2 of the Resilient Podcast. I asked myself questions about that too. And the first question that I asked myself about that in particular was, because it's a question that people have asked me and I've given them an answer. But then I said to myself, let me ask myself this question and see how I answer this, asking myself. And I said, Rob, why is mental health awareness so important to me personally? And I started to think about all the people that I've met throughout my life that have talked to me about mental health and how different it has been for them. And I said, I think it's because I know what it feels like to suffer silently. I know what it feels like to suffer silently. I know what it feels like to almost give up. Mental health needs to be treated like physical health. Seriously. No shame, no judgment. And if my story helps even one person feel seen, one person, that's all I need, then I'll believe it's worth it. And I'll know that it's worth it. So then, this was a question my therapist asked me. And then I asked myself the same question again, but I changed it up a little bit. And the question was, how has my view of mental health changed after this emotional year that I just had, 2024? And I asked myself that question and thought about it. And then I came up with the fact of, well, I used to think being strong meant hiding pain. I used to think that real strength is about asking for help. Now I know real strength is talking about it. That's real strength, because I've had an issue with people telling me, you talk too much about your personal life on social media. You talk too much about the things that are happening with you. Nobody should know your business. Nobody should really be hearing what happened to you. And pretty much what they're telling me is that they don't want me to talk about it. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, but like I said, real strength is about asking for help, not being ashamed to ask people for help. Like, hey, I'm not doing well. I need help. And believe it or not, real strength is also about being vulnerable. It's okay to be vulnerable. People get scared sometimes about being vulnerable because they think that so many people are going to take advantage of them. And guess what? Those that are going to take advantage of you are going to take advantage of you. But if you reach out to people, you'll be surprised who can be out there that can help you. So now that I have discussed that with you all, I want to talk about goals. Like, what are my goals for the Resilient Podcast in this second year? Well, I mentioned this last episode. I want bigger conversations about mental health and resilience and everything else. I want more guests. I want more raw honesty. I want to keep shining a light on healing, resilience, and mental health, especially for men who are often taught to bottle it up. We have to have those conversations. And on that subject, you know, what guests, right? What topics or changes am I excited to introduce? Look, I'm excited to bring in mental health professionals. Like, for example, I had Yina a few episodes ago, who's a mental health professional. I want to have survivors. I want to have artists. I want to have athletes, people who have real stories of overcoming. I want to cover heartbreak, grief, healing from like childhood wounds, overcoming career setbacks, all of it, all of it. So I asked myself one more question. How can I personally embody resilient forever going forward? Because it's like a mantra now, right? Well, that was the easy question to answer, because the answer to that is I will embody resilient forever by continuing to show up, even on the hard days, by staying true to my mission to turn pain into purpose, and by remembering that healing isn't a destination, but it is a lifelong journey. Folks, resilience isn't just something we do for a reason. It's something we live forever. And I want you all to know that. In this new era of the Resilient Podcast, one of the things I plan to do is to keep the episodes a little shorter as well, too, because even though I never really had anyone say anything about like, hey, your episodes are too long, whatever the case may be, but a lot of my solo episodes, I plan to keep them shorter only because I guess when I have a guest, because I'm going to be pretty much asking them questions, you know, they will be a little longer. So before I end this episode, I just want to take this time to have a Terramana toast to 1 year of the Resilient Podcast, even though I did that in episode 28. Here in episode 29, I want to do it again. I want to have a nice toast and make a toast to everyone out there. And as you can see, this is a big, big, big shot of Terramana for those that are watching. And again, this toast goes out to the WWE for a successful WrestleMania 41, which is one of the greatest WrestleManias. This toast goes out to John Cena for winning his 17th World Championship in the WWE. Even though I didn't want John to win that match, I'm a businessman and I understand why it happened. So John, who I am supposed to see hopefully this month in May, I'm not too sure yet because Cena's got an appearance coming up. I may see him, I may not. And I shouldn't even be talking about it because I don't want to talk about things that I'm not sure of. But John, you always said never give up, and you are 17-time world champ. Congrats to you. This is his last year as a WWE performer. And after December of 2025, that's it. John Cena's done with his in-ring career. So congratulations, John Cena. This Terramana toast is for you. To my friend Cody Rhodes, that championship that's right here is a belt that was sent to me by the WWE with Resilient Podcast side plates on it. The reason why I keep this undisputed title is because, again, the black and gold. It symbolizes me. And this is the belt that Cody had. This is the belt that he lost, and it's now on the waist of John Cena. But this belt right here is resilience. And Cody, thank you for being a champion for us for a whole year. Thank you for carrying the company on your back for a whole year. Thank you for being resilient. Thank you for finishing your story. And you know, folks, Cody may not be champion right now, but he's a champion in spirit and he's a champion in heart forever. So cheers to the WWE, Cody, John Cena, the Resilient Podcast. My brother, who is now, and I can announce this proudly, diabetic free. And I look forward to joining him in that beautiful, beautiful story. I'm looking at something right now on my desk that says, "You got this." And these are inspirational quotes that I've mentioned before that my friend James gave to me as a Christmas gift. And I'm going to read to you guys what it says. But I also want to give a toast, make a toast to everyone out there that is beating cancer, everyone that's overcoming all their battles and obstacles, everyone that is literally doing their very best. Salute. Oh man, that was one of the greatest shots of Terramana I've ever had. So speaking about Terramana, tomorrow I have the great folks of Terramana coming over to visit me, and they plan to surprise me with something. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I received an email about a what was it? Was I in the well, yeah, I think it was when I came back from Vegas, or maybe while I was out in Vegas. I can't really remember. But Terramana reached out to me the end of this month, and they said, "Hey, like, we appreciate everything you've done, everything, since day one, all the stuff you've promoted for us." And they say that they have a surprise for me. So they're planning to surprise me tomorrow. And I am so nervous because I don't know what it is. But they asked me to be available tomorrow, May 1st. And I am making myself available. So, folks, as we close this episode, I want to give a shout out one more time to my sponsor, Victor Melgar from Nala Health. For anyone that has issues with insomnia, anyone that suffers from ADHD, and you're looking for natural remedies, anyone that suffers from migraines, and for the ladies, if you're dealing with menstrual cramps, which I know you do pretty much every month, hop on over to www.nalahealth.com. Check out the products that Victor has on that website, and there is something for you. There's also a free assessment form on there that you can fill in with the symptoms that you have. And when you're ready to check out on the products, make sure that you use my code TRP10 right here on the screen. And you get 10% off your purchase. And this is not just one time, this is every time that you go on the website. So 10% off your purchase by visiting that website, nalahealth.com. Also, check out the Resilient Podcast merch created by For Your Wear by clicking here, resiliencetribune.com/TRP shop. And it's going to take you to our page, our partnered page with For Your Wear, and there will be new merch coming out soon. And the beautiful thing about that is 10% of your purchase is going to go to proceeds. And we're going to switch it up every time. Charity of my choice. So let me take a sip of my water that I got from Las Vegas. This was actually from Allegiant Stadium when I was at WrestleMania. I actually took this water with me, never drank it, had it on the plane with me, put it in my refrigerator. Today's the first day I'm having it. Water from Vegas. How good. So, folks, here's the card that I was talking to you about from the collection that James got me of 100 inspiring quotes. And this card reads, for those that are watching on YouTube, you are entirely up to you. Everything you do, how you handle your pain, your trauma, everything is up to you. So make sure that you make the right choice and the right decisions. It's entirely up to you, and that's just the way it is. There's no other way that I can explain it. Everything you do, how you handle everything, it's entirely up to you. So take yourself serious. I am excited, folks. I am so excited. You know, my birthday's coming up next month. I'm going to be 39 years old. I'm planning to do a little bit of traveling. I'm not sure where I'm going to be, but I'm excited for this. I really am. You know, last year I was in so much pain, so much sadness, so much anger, so much resentment during my birthday. But this year, I believe I'm more resilient. I believe I'm stronger. I believe that I am a little bit more happier. And I look forward to my birthday. I really do. Another year of life, another blessing from the Lord above. I'm here for it. And like I said, this is a new era. It is season 2 of the Resilient Podcast. 28 episodes from the bottom of my heart to you all. Now 29 is a new beginning, a new chapter. And I am so excited because episode 30 is going to be next month, May, during Mental Health Awareness Month, during the month that I was born. And I'm so excited. I really am. I also want to take this time, even though he's not going to hear this, even though he's not going to ever know about this, because my father is not into social media and whatnot. But today's my father's birthday. A Taurus, just like me, just like my grandmother. My grandmother's a Taurus as well, too. My grandmother's birthday is on April 22nd, Earth Day. Today is April 30th. It's my father's birthday. My father is 74 today. Happy birthday to my old man. I love him to death. But yeah, we are 20 days away from my birthday. And like I said, I'm so excited. I look so forward to episode 30 next month. And if anybody wants to be on the podcast, reach out to me. Information is right below here. Follow us on TRP, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, at The Resilient Pod. And if you want to share your story with us, ResilienceTribune.com. Send us an email at info@ResilienceTribune.com. My story, which is on there right now, is a beautiful story that I shared with everyone last month. And it's such a beautiful story. And I plan to share it with you all at some point. But because I want to keep this episode short, I won't share it now. But I promise I'll share it with you all at some point next month. And next month is Mental Health Awareness Month. And I look forward to anyone that is open to sharing their story about resilience on our platform. So once again, if you want to send out your story to the Resilience Tribune, send an email to info@ResilienceTribune.com. We'll review it, send us some photos, and we'll post your story on our platform. This concludes episode 29 of the Resilient Podcast. The first episode of season 2, the first episode of this new chapter. As I always say to you all, thank you for standing with me for year one. Thank you for supporting me. It really means a lot. And here's to year number 2 of the Resilient Podcast. I look forward to talking to you all in episode 30. And it is bye for now. And remember always, folks, to remain resilient and overcome what is literally out there trying to take you down. Overcome it, beat those odds, rise above, and you will succeed. And you will be proud of yourself and you will love yourself for it. I appreciate you all. Once again, this is Rob Aurelius. Thank you for joining the Resilient Podcast, and I'll see you all soon. I love you all. Peace.